I can heal your eyes, the girl revealed. The blind millionaire uncovered his fiancée's dark plot. Adam Lawson was no ordinary man. Despite being blind for most of his life, he had built an empire that many people admired. He was a wealthy businessman, known for his sharp mind, his hard work, and his ability to navigate the world even without sight. Adam had never let his blindness define him, and that was part of the reason why people respected him so much. He could handle any challenge thrown his way, and he didn't let the limitations of blindness stop him from achieving greatness. But there was one part of Adam's life that still caused him pain: his vision. He had been blind since a young age after an accident that took away his sight. For years, he had dreamed of seeing again, but he had long accepted the fact that his blindness was permanent. He lived a comfortable life, surrounded by people who cared for him, but there was always a lingering thought in his mind: what if there was a way to see again? What if a miracle could happen? His fiancée, Lily Harper, was a beautiful and caring woman who had been by his side for over 2 years. She was everything Adam had ever wanted in a partner: kind, thoughtful, and supportive. She never treated him differently because of his blindness, and that was something Adam truly appreciated. Their relationship had grown stronger over time, and Adam was convinced that Lily was the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. One evening, the couple attended a charity gala for a cause close to Adam's heart. The event was held at an upscale hotel, filled with well-dressed guests, music, and laughter. Adam loved these kinds of events because they allowed him to feel connected to the world around him, even though he couldn't see it. Lily guided him through the crowd, her arm wrapped around his, as they made their way to the main ballroom. It was during this event that Adam met someone who would change everything. As they were walking to the ballroom, Lily introduced Adam to a woman named Emma. Emma was a quiet and mysterious woman, with dark eyes and a calm demeanor. She was a guest at the gala, but there was something about her that caught Adam's attention. There was a certain energy around her, something almost magical. She had an air of confidence and grace that made Adam curious. After exchanging pleasantries, Emma surprised Adam with an unexpected statement. She looked him in the eyes, her voice soft but certain, and said, "I can heal your eyes." At first, Adam thought he must have misheard. "What do you mean?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. Emma smiled faintly. "I can help you see again," she said. "I have a gift, a power, and I can heal your blindness." Adam was taken aback. For as long as he could remember, he had been told that blindness was something that couldn't be fixed. Doctors, specialists, and experts had all confirmed the same thing: his blindness was permanent. No treatment, no miracle, no surgery could restore his sight. So when Emma spoke these words, he couldn't believe it. Lily, who had been quietly listening to the conversation, seemed intrigued but skeptical. "Are you serious?" she asked, her voice filled with doubt. "How can someone heal blindness?" Emma simply nodded. "I've helped others before," she replied calmly. "It's not about medicine or surgery, it's about energy, about the power of the mind. I can help you regain what you've lost." Adam didn't know what to think. Part of him wanted to dismiss Emma's claim as impossible, but another part of him, one that had been longing for the ability to see again, wanted to believe her. What if she was telling the truth? What if this was the miracle he had been waiting for his entire life? Lily, sensing Adam's hesitation, gently took his hand. "You've always wanted to see again, Adam," she said softly. "Maybe this is your chance." Adam looked at Lily, her face glowing with hope. He could hear the sincerity in her voice, and he trusted her more than anyone else in the world. If she believed in Emma, maybe he should, too. But deep down, there was a nagging feeling in his stomach. Could this really be real? Was Emma truly capable of healing his blindness, or was it all just a trick? "Let's give it a try," Adam finally said, his voice filled with uncertainty but also a flicker of hope. "What do I have to lose?" Emma smiled warmly. Nothing, she said. Just trust me, and we'll begin the healing process. In the days that followed, Adam and Lily arranged several sessions with Emma. She came to Adam's home, bringing with her an air of calmness that made him feel at ease. Emma never explained much about how her healing process worked, but she asked Adam to sit quietly, focus on his breathing, and trust in the energy she was sending his way. At first, Adam wasn't sure what to expect. He didn't feel any different after the sessions, but Emma assured him that change would come slowly. As the days turned into weeks, Adam began to notice something strange. At first, it was small, just a faint flicker of light here and there. He thought he was imagining it, but it was enough to make him believe. Maybe, just maybe, Emma was telling the truth. One morning, as he was sitting in his study, Adam felt a sharp flash of light. He blinked, startled, and rubbed his eyes. Was it possible? Could he actually be seeing something? His heart raced, and he called Lily into the room. "Look," he said excitedly, pointing toward a window. "I can see a little bit. There's light coming through." Lily's eyes widened with surprise. "Oh my God, Adam, this is amazing," she exclaimed. "It's really happening." For the first time in years, Adam could see the glow of the morning sun. It was faint, like a distant memory, but it was there. He could feel it, and he couldn't help but feel a surge of joy. The possibility of seeing again was no longer just a dream, it was becoming a reality. But even as he celebrated this newfound hope, a nagging doubt remained in the back of his mind. Was Emma truly the miracle worker she claimed to be, or was this all part of a much bigger plan? And what did Lily really think of it all? As the sessions continued and Adam's sight began to improve, those doubts only grew stronger. He started to notice small things, tiny inconsistencies in the way Lily and Emma interacted. Lily seemed to be encouraging him to trust Emma completely, but she never offered any real explanation for why Emma was doing this. Was she really helping him, or was there something more sinister behind it all? For now, Adam focused on the miracle that was unfolding before him. He could see, however faintly, and for the first time in years, he felt like he had a future again. But as he would soon discover, this miracle was just the beginning of a much darker journey, one that would force him to confront not just his blindness, but the truth about the people he trusted the most. As Adam's sight continued to improve, he would soon learn that everything he believed about Lily, Emma, and his life was about to change forever. As the days passed, Adam couldn't shake the excitement that had been building inside him. His sight was slowly returning. At first, it had been just a flicker, a blur of light and shapes, but now, he could see shadows, colors, and even the faint outlines of objects. It was like waking up from a long dream and seeing the world in a new way. The changes were subtle but undeniable. Lily was overjoyed. Every time Adam mentioned a new thing he could see, she would smile with pride, her eyes sparkling. "I told you, Adam, she's amazing. Emma is a miracle worker," Lily would say, holding his hand, her voice full of warmth. It was clear that Lily believed in Emma's powers wholeheartedly, and Adam, too, was starting to believe. But despite the excitement, there was something Adam couldn't ignore. It was a feeling that crept up on him in the quiet moments when he was alone, or when he watched Lily and Emma together. It was a feeling he couldn't quite explain, but it was there, growing stronger every day. A feeling that something wasn't right. Lily was usually so open, so full of love and care for him. But lately, there were moments when Adam caught her looking at Emma in a way that made him feel uneasy. There was something in her gaze, something calculating, something that made Adam's heart skip a beat. Was he imagining it? Or was there more to Lily's relationship with Emma than she had let on? One evening, as Adam sat in his favorite armchair, a glass of water in hand, he tried to process everything that had happened. His sight was returning, yes. But why had Emma shown up in his life in the first place? Why did she say she could heal his blindness? And why did Lily seem so eager to believe her? Was there something he was missing? Adam decided to follow his instincts. He couldn't shake the feeling that Lily and Emma were hiding something from him. He had always prided himself on his ability to trust people, but now, with his sight returning and his world beginning to shift, he couldn't ignore the nagging suspicion that something was off. That night, when Lily left to meet a friend, Adam quietly followed Emma. He didn't tell her where he was going or what he was doing. He just felt he had to see it for himself. He wasn't sure what he would find, but he knew he had to find out. Emma left their home without even noticing Adam slipping out behind her. He followed her through the quiet streets, trying to keep his distance while not losing sight of her. As she walked, Adam noticed that she didn't seem to be heading anywhere specific. She wasn't in a hurry. There was something about her calm, collected pace that made Adam uneasy. They arrived at a small, secluded cafe on the edge of town. The place was dimly lit, and the only sound was the soft murmur of conversations. Emma entered without hesitation, and Adam, careful to stay out of view, waited outside. He had a bad feeling in his gut, but he couldn't turn back now. After a few minutes, Adam saw Emma meet with a man in the corner of the cafe. He was tall, with a sharp jawline and a business suit that seemed a little too fancy for the quiet cafe. The two of them exchanged a few words, their conversation low and quick. Adam couldn't make out what they were saying, but the way they leaned in close to one another made Adam's heart race. There was something about the way Emma was talking to him that made Adam feel like an outsider, like he wasn't supposed to be there. He moved closer, trying to hear their words, but the voices were too soft. He could see the man hand Emma an envelope filled with cash. His hands shook as he watched. It was clear now. Emma wasn't just a healer. She was involved in something much bigger than she had let on. Adam's mind raced. What was Emma's real agenda? Was this all part of a plan to take advantage of him, to manipulate him into trusting her? But the question that haunted him the most was, what did Lily have to do with all of this? He couldn't wait any longer. Adam stepped back and made his way quietly toward the cafe's back entrance, hoping to slip in unnoticed. He needed answers. He needed to confront Emma. Just as he reached the door, he heard a familiar voice. Adam. It was Lily. She had been looking for him. Adam froze, his heart pounding in his chest. He turned slowly, knowing he had been caught. Lily, he said, trying to hide the panic in his voice. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing, Lily said, her eyes narrowing as she looked at him with concern. Why are you following Emma? Why are you spying on her? I wasn't spying, Adam stammered, his mind racing for an explanation. I just wanted to know more about her, about what she's really doing here. Lily's face softened, but Adam could see the worry in her eyes. Adam, you're overthinking things. Emma has been helping you. She's been helping us. We can't just throw that away because of a few doubts. But it's not just doubts, Lily, Adam said, his voice shaking with emotion. I saw her. She was meeting with someone. There was money involved. Why would she need money if she's really helping me? What is going on here? Lily's expression changed. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. Adam, you're not well. You've been through a lot lately, and I know this is overwhelming. But trust me, Emma is a good person. She wants to help you. I want to help you. Adam could see the desperation in her eyes. But he wasn't sure if it was real concern or something else. Lily, he said softly, what are you hiding from me? Lily hesitated. For a long moment, she didn't say anything. Then, with a sigh, she spoke, her voice filled with uncertainty. I didn't want you to find out like this. But Emma is working with someone. They're helping us with a plan, something that could change everything for us. Adam's heart sank. What plan, Lily? What are you talking about? Lily took a deep breath, and for the first time, she looked truly afraid. I'm sorry, Adam. But I couldn't tell you sooner. Emma isn't just a healer. She's part of a bigger scheme. And you're a part of it too. Adam's world spun as Lily's words sank in. Everything he thought he knew about his life, about the woman he loved, was unraveling before him. He had trusted her. He had trusted both of them. But now, he wasn't so sure. The truth was more complicated, more dangerous than he could have imagined. And Adam realized that the weight of Lily's words hung in the air as Adam tried to process everything. He felt dizzy, unsure of who he could trust anymore. For the longest time, he had believed in the love he shared with Lily, a love that seemed perfect in every way. She had been his rock, his constant support throughout the years of blindness, and he had thought that together, they could overcome anything. But now, it felt like his entire world was crashing down around him. Lily's confession about Emma being part of some bigger scheme made Adam's heart race. He didn't know what to think, and the idea of being manipulated felt like a betrayal. Lily had always seemed so kind, so genuine, but now her face seemed distant, like a stranger he didn't recognize. She had confessed to being a part of something, but she hadn't given him the whole picture. There were still too many questions, and he had no idea who could give him the answers. I'm sorry, Adam, Lily said, her voice breaking as she reached out for his hand. I didn't want you to find out like this. But it's not as bad as it seems. Emma is here to help us. She's just part of a plan that will change everything for us. For both of us. Adam pulled his hand away from hers, a mix of hurt and confusion filling his chest. What kind of plan, Lily? He asked, his voice quiet but firm. What are you really after? Why have you been hiding this from me? Lily sighed and took a step back, her face full of regret. She hesitated before speaking again, her words slow, as though carefully chosen. It's not like I wanted to deceive you. You have to understand, Adam, this is for our future. For your future. Emma has a way of healing people, and we thought that if you could see again, we could start a new life together. But that's not all. We needed her help to get the money. To make sure you'll never have to worry about anything again. Adam's mind spun as the pieces started to come together. Lily wasn't just talking about healing him. She wasn't just trying to help him see again. She was part of something much bigger, something that involved money and power. He had heard Emma mention money before, but he hadn't fully understood the connection until now. Was it possible that everything that had happened, the miraculous treatments, the growing hope, had all been part of a plan to get to his wealth? The truth was beginning to feel like a cold slap across his face. Everything he had trusted, everything he had thought he knew about Lily and Emma, was falling apart. He felt as though he had been living in a dream, one where the people closest to him had hidden their true motives. Money. Adam repeated, his voice rising with disbelief. You're telling me this whole thing, this healing, was about money? About getting me to trust Emma so you could get to my fortune? Lily's eyes flickered with something like guilt, but then she quickly looked away. It's not like that, she said, her voice shaky. We were just trying to set ourselves up for the future. I love you, Adam. I really do. But we needed to make sure that once you regained your sight, you'd be free from worrying about money. We thought that with Emma's help, we could make that happen. Adam was in shock. His mind raced as he tried to understand how Lily could say she loved him, yet be part of a plan that felt like betrayal. If it was just about money, why did Emma say she could heal him? Why would Lily have ever wanted to deceive him? The thought was too much to bear. I don't understand, Adam said softly. How could you do this to me, Lily? I thought we had something real. Lily's face crumpled with regret, and for a moment, Adam saw a flicker of the woman he once loved. She stepped closer, her voice pleading. Adam, please. You have to understand, we weren't doing this to hurt you. We wanted to make sure that when you could see again, your life would be perfect. I thought if I helped you regain your sight, you'd see how much I loved you. But Emma, she's a part of something bigger, and she had a way to make sure you'd never have to worry again. All we had to do was trust her. Adam's mind was in turmoil. Lily was right. She had wanted to help him see again. She had wanted to give him a life where he could finally enjoy the world as he had once imagined. But there was more to it than that. Emma's healing was tied to something Adam couldn't quite grasp, something dark and hidden just beneath the surface. Feeling the need to understand, Adam decided to confront Emma. He couldn't let this go without finding out the full truth. He had trusted her, too, and now he needed to know what she had planned, what role she had played in all of this. The next day, Adam set up a meeting with Emma. He had to do this alone. He needed to face her without any distractions. No Lily. Just him and the woman who had made his hope for a miracle turn into something far more dangerous. When Emma arrived, she looked as calm and composed as ever. She greeted Adam with a warm smile, the same smile that had once given him hope for a future he couldn't see. But today, there was something different in the air. The tension was palpable. Adam, it's so good to see you again, Emma said, her voice soft and soothing. I need to talk to you, Adam replied, his voice steady but filled with the weight of everything he had learned. I need to know everything. The truth. Emma raised an eyebrow, her expression not changing. What truth are you talking about? Adam felt a surge of anger, but he kept his composure. The truth about why you're really here. About why you've been healing me. I know there's more to this than just my sight. I know you've been working with Lily to get to my money, to use me for something. I want to know everything, Emma. For the first time, Adam saw a flicker of uncertainty in Emma's eyes. She hesitated, then sighed deeply. I didn't want you to find out like this, she said, her voice low. But you're right. There is more to this than you know. I was hired to help you regain your sight, but the truth is, I wasn't just doing it for free. There are people who want something from you, Adam. They want your money, and they want you to trust them. Adam's stomach dropped. Who are these people? Emma hesitated again, then spoke in a tone that was almost regretful. They're people who believe that once you can see again, you'll be easier to control. They want to use your wealth and your influence to their advantage. And Lily, she was always in on it. She knew what was going on. Adam felt his blood run cold. Everything he had feared was true. The people closest to him, Lily, Emma, had been playing a dangerous game. He had been nothing more than a pawn in a plot he didn't even know existed. You've been lying to me, Adam said, his voice shaking with a mix of anger and betrayal. All of this, the healing, the treatment, it was all part of their plan. Emma nodded, her face full of regret. I didn't want to hurt you, Adam. But I was paid to do this. And now that you know the truth, there's nothing I can do to fix it. Adam's world felt like it was collapsing around him. The people he trusted, the woman he loved, had all been part of something far darker than he could have imagined. Now, with his sight returning, he had to figure out how to get out of this mess and reclaim his life before it was too late. The real challenge was just beginning, and Adam knew he would have to face it alone. You said, Part 4, KO Expand Crow without heading 1300 words. My in simple. Adam sat alone in his study, his mind racing as he tried to make sense of everything that had happened. The walls of his home, which had always felt like a safe sanctuary, now seemed cold and unwelcoming. He couldn't stop thinking about Emma's confession, the truth about Lily's involvement, and the betrayal that had slowly been creeping into his life. Every word, every detail, felt like a blow, and he had no idea who to trust anymore. His sight had returned, he could see now, even if just in fragments. The world around him, once a blur, was slowly coming into focus. Colors, shapes, shadows, everything he had once dreamed of experiencing was now tangible, real. But the deeper Adam dug into the mystery of Lily and Emma, the more he realized that the life he had built, the relationships he had cherished, were all part of a plan that had never been about him at all. It had been about power, control, and money. Lily, the woman he had loved and trusted, had been involved in something far darker than he could have imagined. She had been manipulating him, using his vulnerability to further her own agenda. And Emma, the so-called healer, had been nothing more than a tool in that scheme. Adam had trusted them both, and now that trust had been shattered beyond repair. The truth was hard to swallow. Adam had never suspected that his fiancée, the woman who had promised to stand by him, would betray him so completely. He had always believed in love, in loyalty, in the goodness of the people closest to him. But now, as he sat in the silence of his home, those beliefs felt naive, almost foolish. He couldn't stay in the dark any longer. He needed to confront Lily. He needed answers, and he needed to hear them from her. As much as it hurt, Adam knew that there was no other way forward. He couldn't live in this web of lies any longer. The time had come to face the truth, no matter how painful it might be. As the clock ticked away, Adam found himself pacing the room. His heart beat faster with each passing minute, each step bringing him closer to the confrontation he had been dreading. He was no longer the blind man who had relied on others for everything. He had regained his sight, but what good was it if he couldn't see the truth about the people he loved? The door creaked open, and Lily stepped inside, her face pale and drawn. She had clearly been waiting for this moment as much as Adam had. The tension between them was thick, like an invisible barrier that neither could cross. Lily's eyes were filled with uncertainty, but there was also a flicker of hope, as if she still believed she could explain everything away. Adam, she began softly, her voice barely above a whisper. We need to talk. Adam didn't respond immediately. He stood motionless, staring at her, his gaze unyielding. He had never imagined that it would come to this. The woman he had planned to marry, the woman he had trusted more than anyone else in the world, was now standing in front of him, trying to explain the unexplainable. You've already said everything you needed to say, Lily, Adam replied, his voice cold but steady. I don't need any more excuses. I need the truth. And I need it from you. Lily's face tightened, and for a moment, Adam saw the woman he had once loved, the woman who had made him believe in miracles. But that image quickly faded, replaced by someone unfamiliar, someone he no longer recognized. I never meant for it to get this far, Lily said, her eyes filled with guilt. I thought that by helping you see again, we could have a perfect life. I never meant to hurt you, Adam. I never thought it would end up like this. Adam's heart sank. He had heard those words before, in different forms. I love you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. They were all excuses, empty words that couldn't undo the damage that had already been done. You were never honest with me, Lily, Adam said firmly. From the beginning, you hid the truth. You kept me in the dark, used me for something I didn't even understand. You weren't trying to heal me, you were trying to control me. Lily opened her mouth to protest, but Adam held up his hand, silencing her. No, Lily. Don't try to explain. I don't need your explanations anymore. What I need is the truth. The real truth. What did you and Emma want from me? What was this whole thing really about? Lily seemed to shrink under his gaze, her shoulders slumping in defeat. It was never about you, Adam. It was about what you could give us. You've always had money, influence, power, things that others would do anything to have. And we thought that if you could see again, you would be so grateful that you would never question us. We could have everything we ever wanted. Adam's mind spun as Lily's words sank in. So, this was all about money? About power? You wanted to control me? You wanted to control everything I had. Lily nodded, her eyes filled with tears. I didn't want it to be this way. I didn't want to deceive you. But we couldn't just let the chance slip by. I thought I could make you see again, and everything would be perfect. I thought if I just played along, everything would fall into place. Adam's stomach churned as the full weight of Lily's betrayal settled over him. She had used his blindness, his vulnerability, as a tool to get what she wanted. All this time, he had believed in her, trusted her with his heart and his future. And now he realized that everything had been part of a calculated plan to manipulate him. What about Emma? Adam asked, his voice shaking with anger. What part did she play in all of this? Lily's face twisted in discomfort. Emma, she's not who she says she is. She was hired to help you regain your sight, but she had her own reasons for being involved. There are people behind all of this, Adam. People who have been using her, using me, using you. They want control, and they knew that once you could see, you'd be more valuable to them. We were just trying to play our part in their game. Adam's blood ran cold. So Emma wasn't trying to help me at all. She was just part of their plan. Part of your plan? Lily nodded slowly, her eyes full of sorrow. Yes. I'm sorry, Adam. I never wanted to hurt you. I thought I could make things right, but I see now that I've lost everything. I've lost you. The room fell silent, the weight of her confession hanging in the air between them. Adam's heart ached with the realization that everything he had believed in was a lie. The love, the hope, the future they had talked about, it was all part of a scheme that had been carefully designed from the very beginning. But despite the pain, Adam knew one thing for sure. He couldn't stay in this toxic web of lies. He had to break free. He had to take control of his own life, and he had to make sure that Lily, Emma, and anyone else who had been part of this plan would never have the power to manipulate him again. I'm done, Lily, Adam said quietly. This ends now. I can't be a part of this anymore. You've shown me who you really are, and I can't keep pretending everything is okay. Lily didn't say anything in response. Instead, she simply turned and walked out of the room, her shoulders slumped in defeat. Adam watched her go, his heart heavy with the weight of the decisions he had just made. For the first time in years, Adam felt free. The blindfold had been lifted, and he could see the truth, even if it was painful. And as he stood there, watching the woman he had once loved disappear from his life, Adam knew that his journey was far from over. The real battle had just begun. Adam stood in the quiet of his living room, the weight of everything that had unfolded pressing heavily on his shoulders. His thoughts raced, but there was an odd sense of clarity that had taken hold of him. He had faced the truth, painful as it was, and now he had to decide what to do with it. His life had been a series of lies, each one carefully crafted by the people he had trusted the most. And now, standing in the aftermath, he realized that he had to take control of his own fate. Lily had left. She had walked out of his life, and Adam knew that this was the end. There was no going back. The woman he had thought he would spend the rest of his life with was no longer a part of his future. The dream they had built together was shattered, broken beyond repair. Adam could still remember the times when they had laughed together, shared quiet moments, and talked about a life full of hope. But those moments felt distant now, like a different lifetime. The betrayal stung, and though Adam was hurt, there was something else inside him, something stronger than the pain. It was a sense of determination, a fierce resolve to rebuild his life on his own terms. He had lived in the shadows of others for so long, relying on people to guide him, to help him. But now, with his sight returned, he could see the truth. He could see his own worth. He could see the future that lay ahead of him, one that was no longer tied to the lies of the past. The days after Lily left were difficult, and Adam felt a deep emptiness in his heart. He had lost more than just a fiancée. He had lost his sense of trust, his belief in the people around him. He had been used, manipulated by those he loved, and the pain of that realization was sharp. But in the quiet of his home, Adam found something else, something that had been buried beneath all the hurt and betrayal. He found his own strength. The first step in his healing process was to take control of his business. For so long, he had trusted others to handle things for him, but now, with everything laid bare, Adam knew he had to reclaim his power. He called his lawyer and set up meetings with his business partners. He wanted to make sure that no one could take advantage of him again. He wanted to ensure that his future, his wealth, was in his own hands. He was no longer the blind man relying on others. He was a man with vision both literally and figuratively, and he was ready to build a new life, one that was his own. The healing process wasn't quick. Adam spent the next several weeks focusing on rebuilding himself, his confidence, his sense of self, and his place in the world. He traveled to places he had only dreamed of seeing. He visited art galleries, taking in the beauty of the paintings and sculptures that had once been a blur. He explored nature, feeling the breeze against his skin and watching the sun rise and set in all its glory. For the first time in years, Adam felt truly alive. And yet, there was still a lingering question that haunted him about Emma. She had been part of the scheme that Lily had set in motion, and though Adam had confronted her, he hadn't fully dealt with her betrayal. Emma had lied to him, used his vulnerability for her own gain, and he couldn't simply let that go. He needed to understand why she had done it, why she had been a part of this cruel plan to manipulate him. So, Adam reached out to Emma. He had to hear her side of the story, had to understand the part she played in all of this. He arranged a meeting, but this time, he was prepared. He wouldn't be the same man he had been before. He wasn't the blind man looking for help anymore. He was someone who could see the truth clearly. When Emma arrived, she looked different. She seemed less confident than she had in the past, as though she knew the game was up. There was no calm, mysterious aura surrounding her this time. She looked worn, like someone who had been carrying a heavy burden for far too long. "Adam," she said, her voice soft but tinged with a sense of regret. "I didn't expect to see you again." "You knew I would come," Adam replied, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I need to know why you did this. Why you played such a dangerous game with my life." Emma sat down across from him, her hands folded nervously in her lap. She looked down for a moment, as though collecting her thoughts, before speaking again. "I didn't want to hurt you, Adam," she said quietly. "When I first met you, I thought I was helping. I thought I was doing something good, something that would change your life. But then things got complicated. Lily got involved, and the people behind all of this, they had their own plans. I was just trying to survive. I didn't want to be part of the deception. But in the end, I did nothing to stop it. I was just as guilty as she was." Adam felt a deep sense of sorrow wash over him. He had hoped, even if just a little, that Emma would have some kind of justification for what she had done. But there was none. She had known what she was doing, and she had done it anyway. She had taken advantage of his vulnerability and used him for her own gain. "I trusted you, Emma," Adam said, his voice tight with emotion. "I believed you were here to help me. And now, I can't even look at you without seeing how you used me." Emma's eyes filled with tears as she looked at him. "I'm sorry, Adam. I am. I never wanted to hurt you. But I can't change what happened. All I can do is admit the truth. I'm sorry for everything." Adam stared at her, feeling the weight of her apology but knowing that it couldn't undo the damage that had been done. "I can't forgive you, Emma," he said, his voice low but firm. "What you did to me, what you both did to me, it's unforgivable." With those words, Adam turned and walked out of the room. He didn't need to hear any more from Emma. He had faced the truth, and now it was time to let go. He didn't need her or Lily or anyone else to define his life. He had taken back his power, and he was no longer a victim in anyone's game. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. Adam knew that. But for the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of peace. He could see, not just with his eyes, but with his heart. He could see that there was a future for him, one where he was in control, one where he could make his own choices without fear or manipulation. The past was behind him, and with every step he took, Adam moved forward into a new life. He was free.